Welcome to the Screencast-O-Matic video versions of the end of the notes for using factoring to solve problems. When we finished up with both classes, actually, we were at the same spot. And we were solving problems, solving some word problems by setting things up to figure out what the answers to these problems are. So we were on example number 2. Find two positive consecutive odd integers whose product is 255. So the first consecutive integer let's call it x. And the second one, if they're consecutive odd integers, how many steps are between them? So like between 1 and 3. That's going to be 2 steps. Okay, so find two positive consecutive odd integers whose product is 255. So as you know, a product is these two multiplied together. So x times x plus 2, and that product is 255. So we have the setup, and we can do our distribution. X squared plus 2x is equal to 255. And then from our procedure on doing these kinds of problems, we're going to move that 255 over by subtracting. So we have x squared plus 2x minus 255 is equal to 0. And now you know we need the two factors, so this is an x squared, and we know that we're going to have two different possibilities. But we need to find those two factors. So a times c is going to be 1 times negative 255, which can't be pretty, and b is equal to 2. So we're looking for two factors of 255 that are going to add up to a positive 2. I see a 25 in here, and 255 divided by 25, I think I see a 25 in here. I may not. Matter of fact, I do not. So that is not going to be a possibility. If we do a 5, a 5, then we get a 51, and I'm not feeling the love there. But what about, I see a 3 in 51, and that may be just from experience. So if we do a 3, 51 divided by 3 is going to be a 17. So how about 15 and 17? Oh, I think we're pretty darn close. And one of these is going to be a negative. So it's going to be a negative 15 and 17. You may have to work a little bit harder to come up with that. But these are notes, so we're good. So x squared minus 15x minus 17x, that would be a plus 17x, plus minus 255 is equal to 0. So x minus 15 plus 17 times x minus 15 is equal to 0. So our two factors are x plus 17 and x minus 15. And then you know from what we did, one or the other of these has to be 0 for this to be true. So either x plus 17 has to be 0, or x minus 15 has to be equal to 0. In this case, it would be x is equal to negative 17, and in this case, x would be equal to a positive 15. Now, can we eliminate some of the possibilities by going up and reading this? So find two positive consecutive odd integers whose product is 255. So the question is negative 17 positive? This is not positive, S-I-T-I-V-E, so not a solution to the question. But 15 is positive, and x plus 2 is 17, so our answer is 15 and 17. Okay, let's go on to the next problem. The sum of two numbers is 6. The sum of their squares is 20. Find the numbers. So, how are we going to do this? Okay, if two numbers add up to 6, let's just call those x and y. Then we know that x plus y is equal to 6, and y is equal to 6 minus x. So the sum of their squares is 20. So the sum of the square of the first one is x squared. And the square of the second one would be y squared, but we've already found y in terms of x. So I'm going to say 6 minus x squared. So the sum of their squares is 20. Okay, there's our setup. So let's FOIL this out. I'm going to write them side by side because it's 6 minus x quantity squared. And then I'm going to FOIL them out. So that x squared is going to stay there. And here's our little monkey. However you like to do that. That's 36 minus 6x minus 6x plus x squared is equal to 20. Combine some like terms. I see 2x squareds. I see negative 6 and negative 6 is a negative 12x. And I see a 36. And then as we know from our procedure, we subtract 20 from both sides. 2x squared minus 12x plus 16 is equal to 0. And now we know we need to factor. So GCF factoring first. 2x squared minus 6x plus 8 is equal to 0. And now we're in an AC factoring mode. So A times C is 8. B is a negative 6. So how about negative 4, negative 2? 2 times x squared minus 4x minus 2x plus 8 is equal to 0. And you can always replay this if you need to slow it down. Okay, factoring by grouping. So the 2 is along for the ride. X minus 4 minus 2, x minus 4 is equal to 0. 2 is still along for the ride. Common factor is x minus 4. The other factor is x minus 2. Okay, so our two factors, either x minus 4 is equal to 0 or x minus 2 is equal to 0. So x is 4 or x is 2. So let's go back and see what our problem asked for. The sum of two numbers is 6. The sum of their squares is 20. Find the numbers. Okay, so this x plus this x is 6. 16 plus 4 is 20. So we have found our two numbers. Okay, that's awesome. The length of a rectangle is 6 more than 3 times its width. Yikes. Let's draw a picture. So here's the width, here's the length, and in our problem it says the length of a rectangle is 6 more than 3 times the width. And the area is 144. So area is length times width, which is 3w plus 6, and the width is w. And we also know that the area is equal to 144. So here's our equation right here. 3w plus 6 times w is equal to 144. So I'm going to distribute 3w squared plus 6w is equal to 144. Then I'm going to move the 144 over. 3w squared plus 6w minus 144 is equal to 0. And now what do we do next? For the factoring, we always start with a GCF. And I see a 3, and a 3 is in here, and there is a 3 in 144, because 4 plus 4 plus 1 is 9. So we know that this is divisible by 3. W squared plus 2w minus 48. And if you need to get out your calculator to do that, I would encourage you to do so. So A times C is a negative 48. B is 2. So our two factors are 8 and negative 6. Okay, our 3 is along for the ride. W plus 8 minus 6 times W plus 8. And when we pull the W plus 8 off, we're left with a W minus 6. So either W plus 8 is equal to 0 or W minus 6 is equal to 0. In this case, W would be negative 8. In this case, W would be a positive 6. But wait, a length or a width can't be negative. So we're going to cross this one out. And our width is 6, and therefore our length is 3 times 6 plus 6, which is 24. And the dimensions of the rectangle are 6 and 24. So tune in for part 2.